Once again, we have more H3 drama. The H3 drama just literally never ends. And today we're taking a look at a video by a smaller commentary channel who decided to call him out.
There was also a lot of really famous clips that came out of there, such as Ethan Klein being like, "I-dubs, I love that you say the N-word," and then just saying the N-word a bunch of times.
Mostly for reasons that I don't really agree with, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Enjoy. There's someone named Mika's Rhetoric that I guess made some video about Ethan and how he sucks now. It's a very long video, a nuanced conversation on H3 and public perception. I'm curious to see what this is.
Hi everyone, it's me again, and today I'm genuinely the most terrified I've ever been to ever talk about anything, ever. And I wish that was a joke, but alas, here we are. So today we're going to be talking about H3. And I'm just going to talk about my feelings, my thoughts, the complexities, where I've been. Maybe I felt like I've been too complacent in certain things. I felt like I've, maybe run a little bit too much defense. And
so she feels like she's run too much defense for Ethan. She needs to shit on him now. So she's a commentary channel with 50K subs. Let's see what she makes videos about. The end of the entitled beauty influencer era. So she's like a T channel, basically. She's like a T channel, something like that. It's really sad people who are worried about harassment as soon as this is posted were 100% right. She got harassed. As an ex-H3 fan, I've watched you for years, and the way you explain the truth in an unbiased way is unprecedented. Let the trash take itself out. They post brain rot with zero credibility or education behind their takes. Just mean energy trying to get people on their side who don't know any better. I had to stop watching them. Never went back. Literally anyone with a brain cell knows how deep you delve into the very precarious topics. It's laughable Ethan would attempt to make it seem like any less. More so, any person who has the opportunity to learn from you is ahead of the game. Thank you for being so passionate and motivated. All right, so apparently this girl is super based, super educated. Now she has a lot of disclaimers. I'm going to skip the disclaimers for the first 6 minutes and get to the good part.
And my student teaching internships. So that's why I'm saying these things in advance, okay? Now, I have the lineup of how I think this started from the inception of the podcast to now. So this will be, I guess, a chapter. I'll talk now.
It's so interesting to watch this arc because I feel like what happened before was Ethan attracted this commentary audience and then he shit on them. And he got rightfully criticized, I think, by a lot of people. Gokanaru, probably the biggest one. He made a great video back in the day. Has some flaws looking back, but, good video. My video definitely has some flaws looking back, but still pretty good video. Nick's part, we did a collab on that, me and Nick Diorio. But now, then he kind of accumulated this other audience, this like big lefty audience. And now they fucking hate him, right? And they're all coming after him for various reasons. Sometimes it's Israel-Palestine takes. Sometimes it's quote-unquote ableism. And another interesting thing that's happening is like when Ethan was in the lefty arc, right? A lot of them would defend him for his old, edgy, racist stuff because they'd be like, oh, well, okay, when I say racist, I mean like jokes, right? I mean edgy jokes, obviously, right? But they would defend him and be like, well, that was so long ago. He's changed as a person, doesn't matter, which, is fair. But now they're looking back at that stuff and they're like, Ethan was racist the entire time.
Disclaimer, my politics, and then whatever, okay? And if people think that I'm weak in that regard as well, I understand, honestly. And I also have like a pretty, I know, bringing my mental health is very silly, but again, I just want to be honest, right? I have a pretty intense anxiety disorder, and the only time I've contemplated quitting the internet with like certainty was in reference to discussing Ethan Klein before, and I was treated in a way that maybe allegedly in Minecraft could be considered harassment because they were making an account where they were dedicated to like saying all this stuff about me and how evil I am, and then they were DMing people that I'd worked with on other videos that I was this horrible, evil, morally corrupt individual and all this stuff.
So she's saying she talked about H3 and then she got harassed as a result, and there was somebody who was being like a psychotic person. I mean, that sucks. I feel bad for her. Anxiety disorders are real for sure. But I will say, if you're a commentary channel and you're publicly calling other people out, having an anxiety disorder is going to be a very tough position to be in. A very, very tough position to be in because the internet is not a psych ward. The internet is not made for your mental health. The internet, especially in the commentary community, is like throwing ideas out there, throwing insults, throwing out criticisms, and a lot of that stuff will hit you if you're in this space. So if you have an anxiety disorder, you might have a very hard time. And there's not really much you can do about that. Obviously this is worst case scenario, what she's describing here, right? What she's describing specifically with someone making accounts is worst case scenario, but there's other stuff as well. There's other stuff as well that can happen to you as far as just getting a lot of shit in the comment section that I feel like somebody with an anxiety disorder would probably have a bad time with.
When we talk about the
Thank you,
inception
Patrick
of the podcast,
Paulin, for becoming a member.
It was not responded to well for a long time. And this has been discussed by many different videos at length, including so I was watching I always know that I'm right when I have the opposite opinion of Nicholas Diorio.
Hey, yo,
what the hell? She's calling out Nicholas Diorio? That's funny. That's how you know you're right, when you have the opposite opinion of Nicholas Diorio. All right, he's historically always wrong.
I was watching Ethan Klein's video or the H3 podcast episode about, and I haven't watched it in like a year, so this was like shocking to see these like vast differences, different setup, different show, everything like that. Chatting in about Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being like, oh, Ethan's gonna get all the tankies. So, but I was like, man, when I'm watching it and I'm having trouble getting through it because I'm just cringing.
Because he used the term tanky. Well, Hassan is a tanky. He thinks you should drag capitalists out in the street and murder them. That is what a tanky is it not? It's like an insane communist.
So hard. And then my bestie comes in and is like, you're slaying. I'm like, okay, so I'm right.
Your bestie came in and said you're slaying. Therefore, you're right. That's a good point. Very true.
Anyway, when...
Did she not make a fucking script? Like, she's just rambling. You're making a call-out video on someone that's like, it's not even a stream clip. It's like an edited commentary video. I feel like you should have a script maybe for this stuff.
The podcast came out. A lot of people criticized Ethan for being really unprofessional. There was also a lot of really famous clips that came out of there, such as Ethan Klein being like, iDubbbz, I love that you say the N-word, and then just saying the N-word a bunch of times. The clip with Joji saying that women were at the time was still doing.
Isn't she like she was like a fan of the H3 podcast, wasn't she? I mean, a lot of people in the comments are like former fans. You guys realize that those clips were from before you were fans of him, right? Do you not realize that?
Stuff on the internet, I think. Ask Filthy Frank saying that women were made to be submissive to men.
Thank you, Jasmine,
or
for
apes
the donut.
or whatever, right? Our Neanderthal cousins were probably just like crazy. So there's definitely something like in us to like conquer men want to like conquer.
Right.
So it's, women are
With Post Malone. Saying this to Post Malone is crazy.
in nature setting to be conquered.
Look at his face.
There was also the clip.
I mean, I guess in the animal kingdom, there probably is a lot of rape. So I see the point he's making, I guess. That is a crazy thing to say around Post fucking Malone and Joji when he's kind of coming out of his edgy arc. But I mean, in a nature setting, I mean, there are a lot of, wild animals that do that, unfortunately. It does happen.
Where Ethan Klein was talking about Jewish people in Israel and commenting on their hygiene and commenting on some things that should not have been commented on in the way that they were.
The Jew, well, and I mean, Ashkenazi Jews were all inbred. That's why we all have all these
Really?
neurological.
He's a Jewish guy joking about Jewish people. This is not okay now. A Jewish guy can't joke about their own people. His wife is literally Israeli. He can't make jokes about this. This is too far, really?
Diseases.
Holy shit.
Because back in the day, we had our little village and we fucking ran around in our little suits.
Like
And
Amish.
nobody wanted us, so we're like, well, we'll f- each other. And to be honest, there's like stinky suit where like, bro, you have to be very generous to fuck Hasidic Jew, right?
I'm not
would I
touching that
know?
one. Yeah.
How
How am I
I'll
gonna
tell you.
say to that?
I mean, well, I've lived in Israel for 5 years, so
This is a much better era of Ethan, dude. Bring this back, man. Bring this back. He's clearly joking. Like, is the point she's making that these jokes are like bad taste or something, or he's anti-Semitic as a Jewish person himself? Is that what she's saying? I don't really understand.
they wear the suits, they got the hats, they don't shower nearly enough. When it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, they rock the black suit. They stink, bro. They stink, and they don't shave. You've seen their face. Imagine what their dicks look like.
Wait, I always thought those were like fake.
No, those
Those are real?
Those aren't extensions.
Those are real.
Those are all.
That is commitment. Oh, I guess, if you're
but-
going to do it, you're going to do it.
Their faces look so gnarly. So imagine what these dudes look naked, and they're all pretty fat too, because that wife's at home cooking. That's all she does.
Not all fat.
Well, a lot of the ones you see are.
Many of them are.
Can we get a picture? Yeah, let's see this.
Yeah.
I'll
Fat.
be the judge of
It's funny how even during this era, some of the guests like Jack's Films or Internet Common Etiquette are like, ooh, we was Romans, true.
hot they are.
Harry. No. You asked for it.
So those clips were already coming out. And then
What you say these clips were coming out? I've seen these clips for a long time. I've seen these clips for like fucking 10 years. You say these clips were coming out. These were on the same channel that you were subscribed to, that you were watching. Ethan was making jokes about Ben Shapiro and how he should get gassed while you were watching, and that was fine. But because it's Ben Shapiro, it's fine. Is that it?
also there was criticism that the podcast was boring. I remember the episodes with just Ela and Ethan being quite boring back then, especially that the guests were kind of all that it was. So, and people were really upset that they were no longer making the H3 Productions videos, which were their most popular and most liked content to this day. Progressively, as Ethan Klein started hiring more people, you started getting kind of like a co-host dynamic almost. So, it's like you have now Dan, the producer. You have Ian. You have
putting her on
Zach.
1.5
that was the
times.
crew for a long time. Circa 2020, whatever. They hired AB and Lena, who are both Lebanese, and it's going to become relevant soon. Then you also have the hiring, who were also fans of Ethan's. He hired AB because AB ran defense for him when another creator named Gokanaru made a really long, pretty okay, actually. Like, I remember liking it even back then. Hit piece on Ethan Klein. And then...
That's true. That's a little piece of lore. You guys remember AB, the guy that Jake Doolittle was sort of stalking? So AB, I don't know if the channel's still up, but he used to go by Starkillo. Oh, it is still up. Here's the channel.
Hey, guys.
Basically, Gokanaru back in the day made this video criticizing Ethan Klein. And for those who don't know, the Gokanaru video was like the first really big video to criticize Ethan Klein. It got a ton of views, got Ethan a ton of hate. And he ended up responding on the podcast, basically saying that most of what he said was true. Now, it didn't last too long. He kind of walked back a lot of that stuff. But he did at the time acknowledge that most of it was true. But Starkilla had made a video defending H3H3, right? That's what he had done. Maybe that video's not up anymore. But he had made a video defending H3H3, criticizing Gokanaru. And based on that, Ethan then hired him to be a producer on his show.
AB ran defense for him as Starkilla with like a mask on or whatever on a video, and he hired AB and hired Lena as personal assistant. Then you get also hiring Cameron Grants, who was making memes on their subreddit a lot to do design work. Hiring Sam, who used to be dating Ian to do graphic design stuff for him and set.
Oh, dude, she's from that one clip. Sam's from the one, dude, Ethan Klein Chestnuts. This is like a greatest hits compilation. The chestnut incident, they call it, okay? Why does he hire his fans? I mean, hiring some fans can be fine. Some of the people that I've paid in the past have been people who were watching my content and liked it, and they have really good skills. It makes sense. At the end of the day, a quote-unquote fan is just a viewer of your content. They're going to understand it better. Trying to hire people for contract work or as a full-time employer or a full-time employee that don't know the YouTube game and don't understand your content is fucking impossible. You're much better off hiring someone who understands your content and actually watches it. People from traditional media who get degrees in that shit, most of them have no idea what the fuck they're doing when it comes to YouTube.
Did someone erase the cutie video? Where'd it go?
Off of
Why?
if you are able to look at women who are not selling themselves or benefiting off of
Why?
being seen sexually.
Chestnuts roasting over an open fire. If someone's crying, it's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Come on.
You're a monster, dude.
Ethan's trying to conduct himself differently, Klein, by the way.
You guys are crazy.
Why did you do that?
Wait till you see
what
Sam.
the fuck, bro?
Her face, dude. So she left the podcast, and I think she now has a podcast with QT Cinderella, funnily enough, which is a really funny turn of events. Yeah, so she actually hired Sam from the H3 crew. I think she has a podcast with Maya Higa and Sam from that clip. Big Red did not like it too much. Let's see if I can actually find the channel. Blair, whine about it. Is this it? Okay, so she's the producer for the show now, I believe, is the way it works. She's not actually on the show. But yeah, there you go. This is like a greatest hits compilation. And keep in mind, Ethan did unfortunately apologize for what he said there, even though it was a pretty funny moment. He did go out of his way to apologize.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to come here and
He's so
discuss
sad.
The situation with QT Cinderella. I didn't really have a good opportunity to discuss it on the podcast, and I did want to say something publicly about it. So forgive me for putting it on this channel. I'll probably also talk about it on Thursday and Friday, but I just want to kind of discuss it with you guys. So on Monday's episode,
He's so sad.
we were covering the news.
I feel like he doesn't actually feel bad for the joke. I feel like he said this to not torch the relationship with Ludwig and QT. That's my take on that.
That one of
Looking back,
these Twitch streamers got caught paying for a deep fake subscription for one of his and featuring some of his colleagues. You know,
Look at his
was
face,
really
dude.
dumb and rude and careless in that moment. But yeah, it's something that happens a lot, as some of you guys probably know who follow me or are aware of me. And yeah, I don't know why. You know, I've tried to be mindful. I think I've made progress in some areas and in some areas not. I've tried.
so sad, man. Back to the video, but once again, I feel like we're going through a greatest hits compilation here of the best podcast moments.
That design, that kind of stuff. Then you have hiring of another fan, Olivia, who does writing. I'm sneering because I'm just trying to remember like what her, because she kind of does everything. So I'm trying to remember her role.
What happened is lame. AI deepfakes are lame, but she was so dramatic. I think it's totally fine that she cried, okay? QT Cinderella is like a normal girl. She's a streamer. She sees that some freaks are making AI deepfakes of her getting fucked. You're not going to like that. As a woman, you're going to feel very violated by that. As a guy, you would feel violated too. But it's totally fine for her to feel violated by that. And I do feel bad for her. I just don't think the clip of Ethan was that bad. I think it was funny. But I do think it's totally fine to feel bad for QT Cinderella.
She seems to do research and writing stuff mostly. Then you have also the hiring of Swedish, another fan, Love, who does social media. I think that's right. Yeah, so Olivia does, is that everybody? Now there's a new
Dude, you just got to script this video, man. You got to script this fucking video. Come on.
guy named Nathan or something.
People in the comments are like, this is so well thought out. She's like trying to comb through her memory to even remember what's happening. Plan your video out.
No idea who he is. Anyway, as they hired these people, and a lot of them being
Tom and his Simpson arc? What does that mean?
quite young, a lot of them being like Gen Z. I think Love and I are like born the same year, born a couple months apart. And I'm 24, by the way. You start having these, like, I found, you started getting a lot more of these people who were much more progressive, politically progressive, and ideologically progressive than Ethan. AB and Lena. Because Zach, so Ian doesn't say
I feel like Ethan's always been pretty ideologically progressive, though. He just makes jokes. That's a crazy frame. I feel like Ethan's always been pretty ideologically progressive. I feel like he's never said anything super insane. Like I've never heard him give any remotely conservative take. I've always thought Ethan was a liberal.
shit. Like, Ian's like hiding. Okay, so we don't know about Ian. But you have, and then Dan seems to, I think Dan is very left-leaning. But Dan also doesn't respond to criticism well. So when he has maybe socially conservative, even to a certain degree, like opinions on things, and then people push back, he, like Ethan, will kind of view it as the entire left's opinion on this entire subject and then just be pushed away. And then Zach, I would say, is somewhat on the more socially conservative side. Is it just how I'm getting?
What is socially conservative about them? What takes do they give that are socially conservative? Looking Simpsonian, I'm all for it. So one time someone said I was emo Bart Simpson. I thought that was funny. Well, I don't really get what is their socially conservative takes? Do they not like OnlyFans? Is it something like that? What is it?
Engaging them. I could be completely wrong. This is a discussion again. So, but what I'm saying is that environment was pretty stable in a sort of awakened centrist / center-left vibe, right?
Awakened centrist? What is awakened centrist about the H3 podcast? They're all left-leaning. Literally every single person that is on the fucking show is a left-leaning person. Is a center-left liberal not a left-leaning person? What does that even mean?
Now when you started hiring AB and Lena, who are Lebanese, who have been affected by a lot of these conflicts in the Middle East, even though I think they're both born in the United States, but they're Lena's parents, for example, were recently in Lebanon, etc. Olivia, who seems to be quite progressive and is very, ideologically and socially left-leaning. I don't know what Love's doing. He doesn't say much. Cameron also seemed to be a pretty progressive person. Sam as well. So you started having this sort of environment that was fostering these ideas more openly. And when you have your researcher...
Is she talking about like socialism or communism? Is this like economic? Is this a purely economic issue for her? I'm not totally... I could be wrong here. I've never heard anyone like Dan give any socially conservative takes. I don't know what that would mean.
Who is a sort of kind of left-leaning person, and AB as well was also doing research, you start to your content begins to tilt. And then you get to the debate era where Ethan Klein was
Jewish people are right-wing by nature now? Yeah, I guess maybe according to some people.
Debating Pearl from Just Pearly Things. He debated the guy who's claimed that he cured Tourette's. There was also the debate that he debated Fresh and Fit, I believe, at some point. There was, which I didn't watch that. I think I'd already checked out at that point. There was also... there were just a lot of them at the beginning were people I didn't really know. I think that might be why I can't remember all of them. But anyway, there was these debates, right? And then streamer Hassan Piker was reacting to them because it was the same sort of universe of content creators that he was against himself. From the debates of the Red Pill guys, where a lot of the defenses tend to have to be these kind of left-leaning ideologies, Ethan Klein presented to a more left-leaning audience. And left-leaning audiences really like to watch people get dunked on like that. I think the very first one, which involved Hassan as well, was actually talking to Aiden Ross about gambling. So now you get the show Leftovers, which ended essentially right after the events that occurred on October 7th, which has kind of led to a lot of the downfall. But I think something that a lot of people...
Oh, I see. Okay, so she is just a turbo lefty, basically. That's the downfall. The downfall is essentially because Ethan, I guess, didn't say that Israel needs to be destroyed or wiped off the map, basically. Maybe that's it.
We're not considering... Was there...
Although, in fairness, Ethan did have some kind of very misinformed take he had to respond to. I'm not a big politics guy, but... So, like, my knowledge of this is kind of limited, but... Gokanira made a pretty good clip about this where Ethan had made some claims about some guy that was a member of Netanyahu's war cabinet. I think he and maybe Ela had said that guy was kind of progressive, or he was like not a war hawk, but that ended up being really wrong. Ethan had to apologize for it. I don't know where the video is. I don't know which video it is. Is it this one? It might be this one, but I know it happened. Basically, Ethan was not as informed as he thought he was. The entire podcast is heavy center left and not left enough for her. That seems to be the take, basically.
Quite a few small spikes that began hitting people. And I don't want to reveal the exact comments that I found, so you can take my word for it or you can not, just because I don't even want to start getting into like any of the identities on the Snark Reddit or any of that kind of stuff, because
I don't want to reveal the exact comments I found. Why not just reveal them? You're calling out Ethan Klein. Plan out your video, Mika's rhetoric. Come on. I'm not even trying to be mean to you here, but it's like, just plan out your whole comment. It's not that, like, just get the evidence for the claims you want to make.
Because Ethan's going to go buck wild on that if it ever gets anywhere. I've been reading, like, there was a post about being a fallen fan, which is what Ethan Klein refers to people who no longer like his content. I guess technically by that design, I would also be a fallen fan. But the juxtaposition that Ethan Klein often puts towards fallen fans are people who are like borderline neo-Nazis. Like these sort of people who really liked conservative content, they liked anti-SJW stuff, they really hated leftists, they whatever. That was who he used to position mainly as these like fallen fans.
That is what he was saying, which is not really true. That was definitely a thing he was saying. He was like, oh, well, I attracted a big conservative audience and now they hate me. But I just don't think that Ethan was ever that conservative in the first place. I feel like he was generally just a guy that was making jokes. Like if you look through his old videos, like for example, the video he made about like Casey Neistat, right? This is an old video, okay? 8 years ago. Because Casey Neistat made this video where he was like, Hillary Clinton, I'll be voting for Hillary Clinton. And Ethan in the video even said, I respect him for saying that, you know, he wants to vote for Hillary Clinton and getting his audience to do that. But I just personally wouldn't do that.
I realize I'm a little bit late on this one. Me and Hila just returned from a little vacation for our 4-year anniversary.
What Ethan said about the war cabinet wasn't wrong at all. It was the word choice of him saying he's a good guy. Well, Ethan seemed to think it was beyond that.
Pound it. We had a great time. Thank you. Let me explain. Casey Neistat is a very popular YouTuber who made a video a couple
Like this is the era of him being super right-wing apparently, when he had a super right-wing audience.
days ago.
Hillary Clinton.
Why'd I say it like that? Audience. When he apparently had a super right-wing audience.
I will be voting for Hillary Clinton.
Casey endorsed Hillary with such gusto, he basically fucked her in the ass and gave her a reach around. I mean, he went full service for her, which is fine. And frankly, I even respect it a little bit because I know it can be so divisive and difficult to talk about politics. So it's cool that he did that, and I respect that. But towards the end of the video, he gets into this whole thing about how we're all morally obligated.
Like, this is like the most quote-unquote conservative thing he said. And he was like, I think it's totally fine that Casey said what he said, and I respect him for what he said. So I don't really understand, man.
But now,
I think H3 was part of the anti-SJW crowd, which I guess can be called right. Is it really right-leaning, though? It was mostly just making fun of those, like, the people like the Humongous Girls, Zarna Joshi, right? Stuff like that. It wasn't really right-wing.
you have fallen fans that are those left-leaning people, which now Ethan Klein often refers to as extremists, which is being often quite inappropriately used. So
I mean, there are a lot of people who are mad at Ethan now who are extremists. Those people do exist. I would call Hassan Piker the definition of an extremist politically.
a lot of the people brought up these other instances besides the recent, what people are referring to as the Hassan Piker crash out, which I'll get into soon. And I want to go through those events to remind people what they were, to sort of maybe place people in where they started feeling a disconnect with the content. So the first thing I could think of, which is not something that many people really brought up, and this is going to sound really crazy to come out of my mouth, but the prolapse fixation is an issue.
What?
It is. She's an issue. For
The prolapse? What is the prolapse fixation? Thank you, Danky Kang, for coming over. What is the prolapse fixation?
one, you have the issue of, that's kind of gross. So what happened with this
A butthole prolapse is gross. I guess I agree. What is the fixation?
is it started with Howie Mandel just raw posting a prolapse on TikTok, where it was someone prolapsing through a pair of shorts or something, and he was like, what's going on? Is this COVID or something? So which it became a meme because everybody's like, Howie Mandel, the known like germaphobe or whatever, plus like just beloved TV host, just not having any idea what he's looking at. He says he thought he sat on something. Kind of makes sense in context because there's no other universe where Howie Mandel would just be doing that. It was like a boomer gets TikTok moment, and it was quite wholesome and funny, right? But then what ended up happening was Ethan Klein became obsessed with this and started showing this to everybody, the TikTok to everybody and stuff. But then also got involved with this sex worker named Hunger FF.
So he showed people a TikTok of Howie Mandel not understanding he was looking at a prolapsed anus. Okay.
Who was really famous for utilizing his prolapsed rear end to make content. And what he would do is he would sit people down and force them to watch this content when they were being interviewed by him. So he did it to Howie, which I guess sort of contextually makes sense. I think he might have had him do it.
Wait, so this is like part of her problem with Ethan that he jokingly showed someone? He wasn't showing it to kids. He wasn't showing it on the air. He'd be like, oh, look at this crazy video, Howie. And then they wouldn't show it on YouTube because you get banned for that. That's it?
Person, which is even worse. Then he showed, but so I mean, I guess to a certain degree you can go, yeah, that's like the joke, right? Like that was the guy who did it. But why was he showing Stavros? Is that his name? I think so. That's how you pronounce it. Why is Brittany Broski have to watch this?
I just sent it. This is the video I was saying I was worried that you were going to show, and you were like, I wouldn't show that.
Why would I do that? What kind of psycho do you think I am? All right, you're not showing the screen, right, Ian?
You're just gonna show me?
Yeah, well, if I show this at home, I'd be banned on all.
All
websites.
platforms.
Oh, girl, we're halfway there.
All right, so
Wait, so this is the problem is that he showed them something weird to get a funny reaction from them? This is like her biggest problem? This is in the same conversation as the Palestine stuff? Is this?
it's only a minute long, okay?
This is when she started to feel disconnected, apparently, from H3.
It says,
It's amazing. It's 10 seconds.
yeah. But maybe you can bail whenever you want, but it gets better towards the end. So it says, is this COVID related? Yeah.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Wait, did you not see this, Hila?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
What?
Wait. Look. Wait, don't make me look at this by myself.
They're all laughing. It's like when you show your friends a shock video. This is the worst thing in the world. Brittany Broski is a prisoner, dude. She's being put in a fucking camp by Ethan with this one.
This like actually.
No.
Is she like a victim?
Stop.
What is the point here?
You're
It's
crazy.
Harry. Oh, that's making me gag, bitch. Turn it off.
That's actually our friend.
That's
Phil,
actually,
Hunger
this is actually kind of funny.
I love hunger, but I don't.
Why are we making Anthony Fantano see this, right? Why is this being forced? This is not comfortable content. This is not, they're not really consenting to this a lot of the time. I feel like there's definitely like a...
They're not consenting to it. His friends who come on his podcast are not consenting to being shown a prolapsed asshole, and that is part of the problem with Ethan Klein. Everyone in the room found it funny. This is dude, we're in dark territory here. We have fallen down some kind of horrible rabbit hole. I feel like I need an escape rope right now.
element of...
I should have just played Lego Batman. I shouldn't have gone to this. Okay, I should just play Lego Batman all day.
Like a coercion because of the interview space. And the crew will often push back on this as well. There's also the event, and this leans into the next thing too, which some people refer to as Bottomgate, where...
Bottomgate? The name is Bottomgate?
Linking to this prolapse thing too, people have really felt that Ethan Klein was, how do I say this, inappropriately pushing homosexual men as inappropriate, maybe? Not inappropriate that he doesn't believe in it, but it was like a joke, kind of, you know?
All right, so I see her tweeting about this. She says, H3 fans lying that they found the school I work at, haven't worked at a school for over a year. Okay. I don't know if any H3 fans have done this. If they have, that's really bad. But to be clear, tweeting about this is not a good thing. You should not be tweeting about that kind of thing. You should not be tweeting about people going through your personal information. That's a very bad move. A very measured response to a commentary video. By the way, I'm not teaching right now. Say goodbye to your teaching job, lol. I mean, that is a clearly insane comment, but... like, why are you highlighting this one comment from an insane person as if everybody's takes are reflective of that? You say, I wanted to be charitable and discuss what happened. It spiraled into so much more. Another dummy taking a ticket and getting in line. Lots to talk about when we return. Dude, what is this? What is this mentality? It's like, okay, so she makes a video criticizing someone. He responds, and now it's spiraled into so much more. You made a video criticizing a public figure on a public platform. Your video got 90,000 fucking views. Did you not expect in any world that he could respond to you? You thought you got me? Ha, I'm not even employed. Yeah, literally. I don't even have a job.
And then there was this whole conversation, and I never watched this episode because I think they started it, and I got so cringed out that I just stopped watching. And this was
like, people are so obsessed with people's tone. You can say whatever the fuck you want about someone, apparently, as long as your tone is nice. You can imply that they're a genocide supporter. You can imply that they're showing people like assholes against their consent and that they're like victimizing them. But as long as you say it in a nice way, it's fine, apparently.
Something that I noticed was common with watching H3. A lot of people go, yeah, I couldn't finish the episode. It was like too cringe. I'm like, well, then why are we watching it, Queen? Because I watch a lot of other people, you know? I don't cringe out of their content halfway through ever. If I do, I kind of never watch them again. So what's happening with this, you know? I've never watched like a ContraPoints video, been like so icked that I need to leave. Or I've never watched like a Smokey Glow video or a Megan Ann video or an Adam McIntyre video or even like a Foodie Beauty Girl World reaction channel video or where I've just been so icked that I need to like...
No, you're so icked? Well, I'm sorry that Ethan gave you the ick, dude.
Bounce, you know? So what happened essentially was they were talking about like tops and bottoms and that whole concept, and then the chat was pushing back, being like, hey, like this is starting to sound kind of homophobic or whatever. Dan starts yelling at them, Ethan starts yelling at them, and everybody is really like annoyed about this combativeness where people we're just trying to kind of push you in a right direction.
Can she just play the clip? I think I remember this clip. Can she just play the clip that she's talking about? Ethan, H3 podcast bottom conversation. Can she just play it instead of just like summarizing it? Compilation of Ethan using homophobic language. Is this it?
He has some anal leaking. Now, we were saying, well, if he's getting blasted in the ass hard enough, potentially, you may need to wear a diaper. And
that's a good point. I mean, biologically speaking, things aren't supposed to go in there. You can choose that if you want, but you may need to start diaper maxing as a result. I think that's a fair analysis.
A lot of you will say, like, okay, we've had to
like, is it just disgusting to you to hear about what gay guys do? Mika's rhetoric?
Like, I don't
think... Who even is this? I don't... She's some commentary YouTuber with 50K subs.
Vaginas increase in size from sex, but assholes actually do. If you have
really?
A lot of anal sex, you can actually blast open your anus. Frequent anal sex can result in a blasted open asshole.
Is that not true? Is that not true?
Maybe he's just got railed real hard the night before. He's a.
You cannot hate gay people while also acknowledging the idea of a penis going into a guy's butt is kind of funny. Frankly, going into a girl's butt is pretty funny too. But Tom pretending he hasn't experienced this. Well, I would never speak on, that kind of allegation. That's just, private allegation type thing. It's sort of a hidden allegation.
Power bottom?
No, that would.
That's an option. Power bottom.
So wouldn't that mean that the diapers aren't for him though?
No, if he's on the bottom, he's getting railed. That he's an enthusiastic receiver. Oh my god.
He's gay.
Power bottom is a guy who
fair.
likes to wildly ride the peg of another dude.
What are you saying that?
Power bottom is a guy who likes to wildly ride the peg of another dude.
Is this that homophobic? He's just making jokes.
So that icked out a lot of people. And I saw that on the Snark Reddit too when there was the post of like, why did you stop watching the show? A lot of people brought up that. There was also, this was a huge one.
You
I'll
never
get to
go
what
full
my
shud.
end was this segment where they were talking about QT Cinderella, who is a streamer on Twitch, where someone made AI pornography of her, essentially a deepfake video.
Oh,
And
here we go. Yes, dude.
she's crying. I also never saw this episode, thank God. I feel like I would have lost it back then. But I mean, I guess not thank God, because I ended up watching for quite a while longer.
Why?
You guys are crazy.
Why did you do that?
Zach, what the bro?
Just not being aware of like the severity of this like event, I guess, and cognitive dissonance as well that I'm not proud of. I think it was just a lot of it for me too was I didn't have anyone to help me with research at the time. Now Nor helps me, right? I didn't have anybody to help me, but the show had brought into these different episodes that gave me an idea of like research. So for example, like I would not use the H3 videos as research because there's a lot of inaccuracies. But let's say for example, like they were talking about for like Colleen Ballinger or whatever.
Oh, but you've become such a good researcher now. In your unplanned video where you recall random events that you barely summarize.
They would get exclusive interviews that I was not able to get ever. They would get a lot of exclusive things that I was not able to access. They would be able to pay for things I couldn't access. So I would watch them as like a basis of like
Thank
where to
God you
find these things
chimed
and then
in.
kind of expand from there pretty often. So that was sort of what I was even telling myself at the time. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And then I obviously got to my final straw later that year. But the issue was QT Cinderella was talking about how she felt violated that these videos were being made without her consent and often being positioned as real, which is very, very fair. Then essentially what happened was Ethan messaged the sound guy, Zach, to play Anouk singing Chestnuts over it. And just to give you an idea of like how unserious this is.
It's so unserious, dude. I hate the phrasing they use. Unserious. Not that. The girlies. It's problematic.
This is like,
I learned about colonialism. I love that guy. That guy's awesome.
I'm gonna cut
dude.
the audio now because I want to get claimed. But like this is
That
like
rocks.
what that video
Thank you for the
is and what it
dono,
looks
Will.
like, right? So it's like very silly, obviously. So then they sort of apologized for it. It was very weak and people were really not happy with it. And it actually became a meme that like it shifted into Ethan Klein kind of almost separating responsibility to a certain.
What do you mean sort of apologize? Are you totally ignoring the fact that he did a video apology directly to it, which we literally pulled up on this fucking stream? You're being like, Ethan has so many inaccuracies. Ethan did a full 10-minute dedicated video talking about it and clearly feeling bad about it.
Degree by claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as goblin mode. This also was something where he said that.
Is this why the button was created? For those who don't know, Ethan has a button where anytime he says something crazy, the stream is delayed 30 seconds so they can press a button to delete that part.
If there's another boss that Ben Shapiro.
Oh, she actually is calling out the Ben Shapiro comment. I'm surprised by that. He was making those comments while you were watching the show, but I'm surprised that that wasn't a complete turn off for you considering everything else you had a problem with.
Should go first. That's what Ethan Klein said, and I disavow this as a concept, obviously.
I disavow.
So
let it be known.
That was another event that he considered that goblin mode thing. So he ended up getting this like broadcasting button where Ethan could push it and it would cut the last 15 seconds, similar to like a censor button on live television. So instead of really addressing, I found the QT Cinderella stuff, he kind of boiled it down to this like goblin.
He made an entire video about it. We just watched it. He made an entire video apologizing. Working out is right wing because of the fat acceptance movement, and disagreeing with the left makes you far right. I mean, the thing is, thankfully, not all left-leaning people think this way. This is like an internet left-leaning person thing. Left-leaning people in the real world don't think like this.
Goblin mode, right? Then crew members started
But she never said that, to be clear.
leaving in the last year. First Cameron Grant, and then Sam. Cameron said that he received another job.
There's a clip of Brittany on TMG laughing about it. Really?
What's the nastiest thing you've seen on the internet?
I recently went on fucking H3 and Ethan showed me a video of two prolapsed assholes rubbing against each other. So that's actually really awesome that you asked
Wait,
that
okay.
because I had an answer ready to go.
Yeah.
So we probably could watch Perverse Family right now.
Like, I mean, like,
Okay,
pull
okay.
it up.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She doesn't seem that disturbed by it, to be honest. She seems like she's making it a joke. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like she's like, fuck Ethan, right?
Pull it up.
I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Don't pull it up. Do not pull it up.
I mean, it was like I haven't felt that jarring. Like, holy shit.
Why did he show you that?
Hey, that's a great question.
He just out of nowhere?
Well, no, there is a backstory. You know Howie Mandel's TikTok that you made?
Yes. Yeah.
So instead of being offended, she gets into the backstory behind it.
Yeah.
What was that one again? He just looked at the camera like, look at this prolapse.
No, he said, is this COVID related? And if so, what do we do about it? His prolapsed asshole.
Right.
Um,
Wait, it wasn't his.
Oh, it was his.
It was his
It
own?
was his. Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
No, it
Yes,
wasn't.
it was.
Ethan's?
No.
Just spreading rumors. Hey, Howie Mandel posed in front of Ethan H3's prolapsed
Howie Mandel personally bent over and showed Ethan Klein his acidic butthole.
asshole. That is
That is beautiful.
crazy.
So Howie was in front of his own prolapsed asshole.
And the fact
said-
that he knew how to use the green screen feature on TikTok to be like, hey guys, what do you think about this?
Man,
Why was his
that
asshole
was
prolapsed?
not Howie's asshole. I'm gonna ask Google right now.
It was. I swear to God.
Why was his
What the
asshole prolapsed?
I think it was not Howie Mandel's, I would guess. Probably not. I think it was someone else's.
I don't know what he's doing in his spare time.
It was the guy on YouTube that was like showing how to nair yourself, basically.
But they had Howie on the show and showed him that video.
Of the two rubbing together?
What'd he say?
He's like, how the fuck did you get that?
He couldn't look away. Ethan showed me the clip, and he's watching it, and he goes, oh my God.
Bro, I'm watching. This is not Howie's butthole.
Yeah, it is.
There's no way.
Yes, it is.
This
How do you
fucking-
know it is?
This Gremlins practical effects?
Yeah, no, there's no,
No
way.
shot, dude.
Wait, why?
Howie Mandel shows prolapsed anus on TikTok.
I mean, we're gonna see it if you click.
No, that's like a meme.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucked up meme, but it can't be. He's like wearing a costume.
Well, let me see.
That's not Howie, dude.
It's on the thing.
Look how offended she is. She's a victim, man. She's the victim of this horrible interaction.
There's an
Oh.
18 plus mature warning. You gotta click through.
Warning. Warning. This asshole is completely fallen out.
If it's not his, I'm gonna be real embarrassed.
No, that's
I think it's just a.
no.
prolapsed
It's
asshole.
yeah.
But why
Leave
would?
us a comment. Let us know if that's.
Yeah, leave us a comment if you've seen Howie's ass. Does
Yeah.
that look like it?
I ate out Howie's ass last night, and let me tell you, that is nothing like it.
Yeah, that shocked me to my core, and I haven't. I mean, had a visceral response to a video online like that in a real.
Rubbing together is
Rubbing
crazy. That's not his.
Oh,
that's not his pocket.
It is, I promise.
Bro, there's no shot. You turn that upside down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like she thought it was funny. I don't really see what the huge issue is. She's joking about it openly and talking about how funny it was. Once again, it's like getting offended on someone else's behalf.
He received a job offer closer to where he's from, Massachusetts, and he was moving back, and he also just really, really hated living in California. Now, obviously, you can receive, when you're a public-facing figure as well, like Cameron was on the show, you can receive job offers, like, just randomly, right? Like, via email, via whatever. I just wonder, I feel like he was applying for jobs to get that offer. Because I think in the industry that he's in, you have to submit portfolios and stuff. That's just my tinfoil hat theory, though, in that regard. Then, Sam left.
All right, I'm going to skip to her conclusion because this is retarded so far.
This is just my nuanced conversation on my feelings about it, and I hope that you appreciated it. And I'll see you when I see you.
That's your conclusion? 45 minutes that's your conclusion?
My phone, and it instantly worked right after this Aaron Bushnell stuff. When I was like, you know what, I'm done with everything. I'm unsubscribing the whole nine because of the comments that Ethan Klein was making, essentially mocking Aaron Bushnell's efforts and the impact that he had. And
Oh no, he mocked a guy who, oh man, he mocked a guy who lit himself on fucking fire and did nothing. Great. How horrible. How terrible of a joke, dude.
if I could find the clip on that, I'll insert it here.
My first reaction is this. It was absolutely insane how he stood the whole time. That was crazy. I don't know how that's all humanly possible. Again, not to put this uncouth, but he's a champ.
Can you not make a joke about a dumbass that lit himself on fire?
Burning. I mean, that sounds bad, but he did it really good. Does that sound bad? We have to make levity of things. Geez, that sound bad that he was really good. I mean that as a compliment. What the f are you guys angry about, you weirdos? What did they do? My God, stop. They just say all I hear is Ethan no, but I don't understand what I've even said.
The disrespect of that effort and the mocking of the concept and the harshness and lack of humanity really highlighted to me those feelings I had acquired from those other instances and the core of where I felt like they all came. And that was my end point. That was
your end point? All right. I'd say Ethan Klein's career is over. I'd say he's done. This video has officially destroyed him. But not only that, she's also a victim, and that needs to be talked about. She is a victim because Ethan responded. And because Ethan responded, she is a victim, and she needs to be supported. So everyone be nice to her, all right? Be nice to her. The people who are coming after Ethan are crazy, man. We are in a crazy fucking time to be alive right now.